2, 3. One on one green bite. Mom and Dad Talks. My favorite two people are Mom and Dad. Hi, Mom and Dad. Oh, some more energy here. Hey, and we have Hantie. And we have two special guests here. We have a plethora of people. We have Carlin, Alfred. Hey, CJ, how you doing, man? Okay, that was not convincing. All right, and then we have my dear wife, Swehla. How you doing, sweetheart?
All right.
No, I am married.
Yes.
That is my wife. Yes, she is. But today we're going to talk about something very, very special here, and that is Dynamic Praise. Dynamic Praise, if you don't know, is a choir that was out of Huntsville, Alabama. That was on the campus of now Oakwood University, and been there for 35 years. Started as the freshman choir. It became Dynamic Praise when Carlin's group got in there. I was not a member for like 3 years, but my third year I became a member, but I attended like every rehearsal there.
He joined when
Everybody
I
thought I was
joined.
like, hey, Todd. I said, no, I never officially joined, but I knew all the songs and stuff, which was kind of cool. But it was a real special experience for me, and it transformed my life being in there where people were singing songs I could relate to and having experience with God at the same time. So with saying that, what was Dynamic Praise? Who wants to start? How did you feel about Dynamic Praise, and what did Dynamic Praise mean to you?
Dynamic Praise was amazing. It just, wow. I mean, being a music major there, you had to be in Aeolians, and Aeolians was a wonderful experience as well, but it wasn't Dynamic Praise, no shade. It just wasn't. I mean, each choir had its own uniqueness, and yeah, and it's it just was different. That was really the place that I kind of like, relaxed. That was the place that I relaxed in God's presence. It just was worship. It just was different. I know you didn't ask to compare Aeolians, but Aeolians was a place that we worshipped, but we really worked more on skill and it just was different. I enjoyed Aeolians too, but we're talking about Dynamic Praise. Dynamic Praise,
Please stay to
just
the
the
subject,
environment
please.
was beautiful. It just
Todd.
Just beautiful. I loved it. I want to say too that it allowed all of us to challenge ourselves. I remember when I was there the first day. I mean, we had to sing, like, I don't know if y'all remember, but when we learned like 15 to 20 songs, no lie, and then we had to go sing it. I mean, like, it was just, he kept us challenged. There was a lot of
And singing
us.
on tune.
Yeah, and it was great. I loved the challenge. I love the camaraderie with everybody. I love that some of Owen and Wayne, we were all music majors, but we were doing something else that we really enjoyed doing. Now, last thing I'm gonna say is that they've got mad at me, and mostly Owen, because I didn't play. A lot of people didn't really know that I
I
could
didn't know she
play.
played the piano all
Remember
that time we
that?
were there.
I just
I didn't either.
sang for a long time. And Owen would start saying, we have people in here. I don't know if you remember that too. He's like, we have people in here that don't use their talents for the Lord. And I was just, he was mad at me for a while. But I didn't need to, because everybody was so talented, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, the band was great. Like, I'm here to sing. So I loved Dynamic Praise. I really did.
Very, very fascinating. And like I said, you also had to do those auditions. By the way,
Yes,
those auditions were murder. But
they were.
Carlin, tell us about your experience, man.
Well, I'll start off by saying the audition. I remember the spring of '89. I guess that's when we started it before alumni. So it was the freshman choir prior to that. And I was actually friends with the guy who actually started the freshman choir. There's some controversy about that, but Brian Clifton,
Mm-hmm.
let's call him Dallas, from Dallas, Texas. We played flag football together. He was a quarterback, really, really good quarterback. And I did not know that he was a musician. He played on Sundays to make money in order to pay for his getting to Oakwood. He still plays on Sundays.
Hmm.
And so he's the one that told me about it. He said, "Man, we were just kind of messing around after a game. He said, "Man, you should try out for the new choir that they're starting." And I was like, "Man, I grew up singing kind of in choirs, whatever, at home. We're singing with mom and Hantie and stuff. But that wasn't really what I wanted to do." And then he said, "Yeah, man, there's gonna be a lot of good-looking girls there." And so I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm there." So um, my first tryout was in Peterson Hall. There's probably about 200 people there. And back then, you had to try out in front of everybody.
Ooh.
And I am not a soloist.
Can
I've
I
never
ask
performed.
can I ask what did you have to try out on? What was your trial song?
So I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that.
All right.
Owen was on the piano, and he said, "What song do you want to sing?" Now, mind you, I entered all the tenors. They tried out at one time. Before me was a guy named Earl Pickett, and then after me was a guy named Josiah Spellman.
Mm.
Josiah. Now, Earl, I didn't know Earl could sing. I didn't know he's from New York. All the girls went crazy when he got up. After it was me, then Josiah Spellman. Josiah Spellman ultimately left school. Remember Todd?
Mhm.
Left school to go on tour to sing backup for some group named Jodeci.
Right.
That's what I remember. And and after him was some guy named Joey Kibble, who, so then in the middle was me. And so he said, "Just sing anything." I said, I couldn't think of anything. So I said, "Amazing Grace." So we started singing. We played Amazing Grace, very basic, and I forgot the words. And somehow I made it. That was the beginning of my experience. So the non-singer that got in, and ultimately I did a lot of things with the group that had nothing to do with singing. I drove van because I'm a pretty good driver of vehicles. Worked for the Indiana Department of Transportation for a little while. I could drive anything up to a 21 gear Oshkosh. They put me behind the wheel of vans and buses and stuff. And then they gave me a few solos, and I let out on a few things, and the rest was history.
Now, the wife that you married, did she ever join DP?
Absolutely. So she was an Aeolian first,
Uh-huh.
and then she was a part of a group called Positive Images, and that was like the elite recruiting group that got to go around the world with Elder Trevor Frazier and recruit people. So she really kind of didn't have time in the beginning in her first iteration for Dynamic Praise, because she was involved in so many other singing groups. And they all sang at alumni and stuff. We were all kind of together. But when she graduated and went and got her master's, and then she came back, she started working in Huntsville for a year. She actually joined Dynamic Praise then. So nobody really knows the difference. They all think it was like she's singing it like from like 1990 or whatever, because you sing all the same songs and everything like that. We're the same old blue robes. It doesn't matter what year you actually joined. It's like they're all the same. So it's kind of weird when you ask her about it. She'll go like, "Yeah," and then I'm like, "You don't have to tell people that you didn't join until 94 or whatever. The people think that you were in 1990. That they will come up to her and go, "Weren't you in it back then?" And she was like, "Nah, I wasn't until 94. So it doesn't, she sang in it too. So we all did.
Kind of like my story. I was always there for rehearsal, but didn't join because I was there with Carlin, sometimes to drive people, take the drums, carry instruments with my truck.
Because you had a pickup truck.
Yeah, the pickup truck got me a lot of access to a lot of stuff, but we won't get into all the access.
You were moving around drums and keyboards.
Yes, drums and keyboards. So it was pretty cool. Like, and finally one day it's like, "Hey Todd, why don't you just join?" And what happened was Buford Griffith, Byron Green, remember my other dude. You remember those guys? They all said they were scared. They were scared.
Lee Jackson.
Yep, Lee Jackson. They said, "Well, you are already. If you go, we'll all go."
Yeah.
And so I went to officially join Dynamic Praise with all of them, and that's how I joined.
Okay.
Did they all get in there?
Oh yeah. They all got in.
Griff got in too.
Yeah, Griff got in there. Byron Green got in there. He's married to Marva. A lot of people got married from their spouses from Dynamic Praise. I mean, and the crazy thing about Dynamic Praise, you look at the legacy that a lot of people who have gone through dynamic praise, where they're at today. A
Mm.
lot of them are major singers with in the music realm. People who have just done some amazing things in life and stuff. And it's a transformational, and it didn't stop after our generation. Other generations after us went big. You know what I'm saying? I guess what little Stevie, Mackey, Carlin,
Oh my goodness.
he's
Yeah, he
there.
can-
I don't know that Stevie ever sang in Dynamic Praise.
I don't know, but he did sing with you that
He sang
on the
with us.
25th, whatever
He
that
didn't.
was.
He
He
didn't
may not
need
have been
to.
in.
He didn't need to.
He was a
He,
guest soloist that day.
He's a guest solo.
I know,
Okay, that's
oh
good.
my goodness.
I'm glad that Carlin left and came up here to share what he learned in DP, because he sure taught the Philadelphia Sound of Glory a lot, and had them singing like DP, junior DP. They were very good. And
Our children's choir. You're talking about our children's choir. For
yes,
people that
yes,
don't know,
yes,
that was
PSOG.
actually a children's
Yeah.
choir.
And made
Some of them who
made the
left and went
deacons
on to be in
cry.
DP.
Mm-hmm.
yes,
And
that's
made
right. But I'm talking about the training that you got. You taught them when you came up here and passed it on to to that group, that younger set that Karen and I were working with, and we're very thankful for that opportunity. And
Yes.
Honestly, I didn't know that was kind of the beginning, because when I left Niles and moved to Texas or whatever, but then I ended up in Nashville. I ended up starting my own choir called Restoration. It was about a 50-voice young adult choir, and a good number of those people were Dynamic Praise alum. And then I moved on I was asked to direct a very established
Unity.
youth choir, teenage choir called Unity, that was founded by Lynn Coopwood.
Lynn Cooper.
And there was about 40 young people in that. A good number of those people went on to Oakwood University and actually sang in DP, which is it's crazy to think that I became a teacher, so to speak. In fact, one of the tenured directors, Bruce Bean, came out of Unity, and he ended up
being a director.
Of
DP.
Dynamic Praise.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I was a director too. I mean, what I love about DP is that you have a way to grow, a way to expand your your ministry, your skills. I mean, it's not just about them, but it's about trying to make sure that others are doing what they need to do as well. There's a lot involved with being in DP.
In fact, Swehla was in charge of a gospel choir at Mutual of Omaha Insurance Company that sang for the President of the United States. And one of the songs they sang was Genesis. Now, folks, next week
from DP.
DP, if you have it, I believe it's next week, right? Or is it 2 weeks? 2 weeks?
2.
When Dynamic Praise, 2 weeks when Dynamic Praise. You have a chance to go down to Alumni Weekend.
That isn't 2 weeks.
Okay, in 2 weeks at Oakwood University, you get a chance to see this choir in full effect with a lot of the old heads from 35 years. And I want to encourage you, if you don't know anything about them, get a plane ticket, get something to come and get that experience so you understand what it's like. And like I tell people, I tell this all the time. I remember we were singing choir for a song with a famous person named Little Kirk Franklin, Every Day with Jesus. And we sang, he directed us, it was a lot of fun.
Well, that was the song he wrote. He wrote that song.
Exactly. But then what people don't know is, the story is
concert.
He was out in the audience, and Carlin, I think you saw this too. And I think my parents were there, and our parents were there. And we sang the song called "Why Do We Sing?"
Why we sing?
Why we sing? Why do we sing?
Why do we sing?
Yeah, why do we sing?
Yeah.
And he wrote a song that was on the radio, became #1 hit. Someone asked the question, why do we sing? And that's what the song was birthed from that concert.
From us.
Yes. So the backstory to that is that there used to be this convention called the Great American Preach Out, right? Where pastors from different denominations will all come to one city they'd bring their choirs with them or their choir directors with them, and basically see it was like a competition who could out church who, right? And that weekend, Dynamic Praise was having their annual concert, right? And I think it was our second year in existence.
Yep.
And Kirk wasn't quite famous yet, but he had written that song "Every Day with Jesus" for the Dallas Fort Worth Mass Choir, and it was a gospel hit, and so we were singing it, and so Lee Jackson, right, ended up being one of the directors from Dallas, knew Kirk because Kirk was playing, famously played for Seventh Day Adventist Church, Grace Temple, and he was up there for the convention, the great preach out. Came to the concert, couldn't believe we were singing it. I remember he had a trench coat on and like a t-shirt or whatever, and he was direct. I was like, who's this little dude just directing and it's tomorrow, and he was just so happy we were singing his song, genuinely happy. And then we sang the song "Why Do We Sing?" But we did it. Remember, we did it in the round.
Yeah.
We actually came down off the stage and lined the side so that we could sing it into the audience, and it was a very moving. He was like crying, laying on the floor and crying and stuff. And from what I understand, he went back to his hotel room that night and wrote the response. So,
but while we were singing it, he was saying, "I need a pen, I need a pen." And yes, he was, because I was supposed to be watching Owen, but I was like, "Oh my goodness, look at him!" And then and so
and another famous person, you will hear that we used to sing a lot of his songs. Richard Smallwood, he picked a song, or we sang a part of a song for him that wasn't there, and he says on the album there's a part of the song I want to teach you guys that I picked up down south on this live concert or something like that. And that was the concert that we sang at his concert there, singing because Dynamic opened up for him, that we made up that part there that Owen and the bunch made up. And so, just those wonderful moments, but there's so many more moments that were so fantastic, and so many great people and singers came out of there. I mean, that was a very intimidating choir. Let me tell you. I mean, especially when you have to sing a solo and you're singing next to world-class singers. I don't know about you, but I'm not the best singer in the world, but I'm singing like, ooh, why am I here?
Who did you stand beside, Todd?
Oh Lord. I sang right next to Dewan. That was really unfair. I felt Carlin. I felt insecure every time I sang around him because
while we're airing it out, I didn't appreciate whenever I did have a lead to a song that I always had to come on after Dewan.
No.
What are you doing with that? Like everybody's like, "Oh, praise the Lord, yes, great." I come up there, "All right, praise the Lord, everybody."
But I didn't appreciate that every time I sang one, we were always asleep on the bus, and then I had to wake up instantly and then sing high, because Witness, that is high. And he was like, "That's our first song." And I'd be like, "Why? I mean, I'm not even awake."
Well, Swehla, we stretch. Swehla, you're a singer. I mean, you sang with Brian McKnight, so we're not going to really talk about you. This is not about you right now.
I didn't even make all y'all made the first round. I made
Swehla.
We're talking about non-singers, Swehla. That doesn't include you.
You don't count. So stay out of this conversation.
That doesn't include you.
Yeah, stay out.
But Carlin,
way out.
I didn't make.
Carlin and I can talk about this. Carlin can sing better than me, but we can talk about this because we wondering how did we show up. And I'm singing next to all these
world, do not listen to Carlin. Do not listen to Todd. They both blew out the tenor section. The tenor section in Dynamic Praise will never be the same.
Let's be clear about something. You do bring up a good point. One of the hallmarks of Dynamic Praise early on was volume.
Yes.
Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I will sit here and say that I'm not much of a soloist, but one thing I can do, we can blow some volume, Todd and me.
Yeah,
right. And our tenor section, when you throw names out there like Quentin Fletcher, Delroy Brooks,
Chris
Dwayne
McGill,
Chris McGill. You talk about volume, and we had to because there was like 700 altos. They do it never. Everybody knows my long-standing beef with the altos, either lazy sopranos or tenors who didn't want to acknowledge who they were. That's what the alto section was, and I have no problem saying that out loud.
Yes. And we're staying by it.
They don't like me because I talk the truth about that.
Yeah.
Don't talk about the alto.
Carlin talk.
And then you go to their church, Carlin, and then you see them singing soprano. Like what?
Right. I was like, what? Hold up. We were singing alto on DP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. We had to sing loud just to outnumber. They were triple the number of altos than anybody else.
Oh yeah, and like I said, then
But
we had
all you needed was 10. Though all you needed was about those 10 people. Blew
yeah,
them
but
out.
you
There
you
was
better be
nothing like
consistent. That's the
that
thing
tenor
about
section.
that group right there.
Yeah,
You better.
you take somebody like Jennifer Guilford, put her next to Carmen Hope, Tina Riley, and who else is heavy? Like the heavy voices.
What about
Good gracious.
Yolanda Neves? She was
Yolanda Neves. You only
Yeah.
needed 4 of them. You only needed
Yeah.
4 of them. Any more than that was just overkill.
Yeah. So the tenors had to step it up, and you better hit your note because when you
Y'all
sing
were
it off, they'll be
awesome.
looking at you.
Maybe on key.
Happened a couple
And when-
times, but didn't
And
happen
when
too often.
Carlin left, we were very sad because he was part of the, I mean, for a lot of reasons, but we're talking about dynamic praise right now. So what I will say,
And we're
is
coming
that
up to the
he
minute
was
here,
part
sweetheart.
of the powerhouse of, I'm serious, you all,
Yeah.
of dynamic praise, that tenor section. And we were like, okay, like, is it still gonna be
But
loud?
folks,
I mean,
thank you for that little thing for encouragement. But sweetheart, I think the thing about it is that when we sang up there in California and,
oh,
and sang up there for
when we
what
got
was it,
robbed.
live in LA, we were on
We were at the Arsenio Hall show.
Arsenio Hall show. I
Mm.
mean, I'll never forget how we got on live in LA and Connect Five, my
And
boys.
we
I
sang
said,
at
guys,
the
sing for this dude in
McDonald's.
the trench coat. And those guys on the spot said, these guys sound like Take Six, and like, prove it to me. And he sang up, they sang like they said, ooh, hold on 1 second. And that's how they got to sing on live in LA. So, folk, don't ever belittle your dreams. We're coming up to the minute here as we get ready to close. I mean, but like I said, for those of you who don't know Dynamic Praise and want to know, you can look at them online, but I'm telling you, you got to see them live. And next weekend, when you go down there to Huntsville, Alabama, go to the concert, see
the
for
29th.
yourself and see what you think, and hit us up and tell us about it. All right. Any parting thoughts before we go, everybody?
Don't miss your opportunity to be a part of Dynamic Praise, to be a part of Oakwood. Just don't. Just go, and even if you go 1 semester and join Dynamic Praise, that it will really change your life. It really will. You will be closer to Jesus. I mean, it's just great. And then if you want to even be closer, join Naomians too. I mean,
All right. With that in
Even
mind,
if
there,
it's just
like I said,
2 years and 1 quarter.
yeah.
yes.
So,
That was me, 2 years and 1 quarter. That was me. Oh,
Yes,
I do
I know.
want to say this real quick before we end up. You make lifelong relationships, and we felt the losses when we had them. Errol Trammell,
Yeah.
PJ,
PJ.
yeah, and Gary.
Yeah.
There's others. When you get to be as long, 35 years is what we're celebrating this year. You're gonna have losses along the way, and we still feel those losses. But
yeah,
we were glad that we were able to share experiences with them.
yep. And with that in mind, we're gonna end on that note, folks. But like I said, God bless you. Till next time, we'll see you on Mom and Dad Talk.